Chapter 8. Precision. Excellence is never an accident. It is the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. Aristotle. Mary sat in her office late one Friday afternoon, a stack of reports spread across her desk. The numbers told a story, but it wasn't one she wanted to read. Despite new pastoral initiatives, student attendance was still hovering below target. Behaviour incidents were creeping up in certain year groups, and a recent parent survey revealed that some families felt communication lacked clarity. The frustration wasn't about staff effort. Everyone was working hard. Teachers, mentors, and support staff were pouring themselves into their roles. But Mary realised something vital. The school had plenty of good ideas and energy, but no systematic way of reviewing whether those ideas were actually working. One moment stood out. During a staff meeting, a head of year named Colin spoke up. "I feel like we're putting a lot in place. Mentoring programs, check-ins, after-school clubs. But we don't know if they're making a difference. Are we measuring the right things?" That question stayed with Mary. She knew Colin was right. They weren't being precise. They needed a way to track, evaluate, and refine their efforts so the school could be confident that every initiative was more than a good intention. It was an effective action. The turning point came when Mary decided to treat precision as a core value. Like an alchemist refining raw materials into gold, she would lead her staff to refine every process, measuring outcomes and adjusting strategies until they reached true excellence. Why precision is important and how it links to pastoral care. Precision in pastoral leadership is the art of getting things right, consistently, fairly, and transparently. It means putting in place systems of monitoring, evaluation, and quality assurance that go beyond surface impressions. Pastoral work deals with complex human experiences, behaviour, attendance, mental health, safeguarding, and family engagement. These are not always easy to measure, but without precise review, schools risk continuing ineffective practices, missing early warning signs, or failing to celebrate real progress. For Mary, precision was about accountability and improvement. Monitoring ensured that every initiative had a clear purpose. Evaluation helped identify what worked and what didn't. Quality assurance made sure that staff practice remained consistent and aligned with the school's vision. In pastoral care, precision transforms vague goodwill into intentional impact. It removes guesswork. For students, it means their struggles are spotted earlier, their voices are heard, and their progress is recognised. For staff, it means confidence that their effort is directed toward what actually works. For parents and governors, it offers transparency and trust. This is alchemy at work, turning confusion into clarity, turning scattered efforts into a united drive, turning a culture of hoping things will improve into a culture of evidence-based success. Developing key practices. Mary began embedding precision by creating a cycle of review arrow, reflect arrow, refine arrow, repeat. This became the backbone of her school's quality assurance system. 1. Pastoral dashboards. She introduced pastoral dashboards that brought together attendance, punctuality, behaviour, safeguarding, and well-being data. Instead of relying on anecdotal accounts, staff now had clear trends at their fingertips. 2. Student voice. Mary knew numbers alone were not enough. She launched half-termly student surveys and created a student pastoral council. Their feedback gave context to the quantitative numbers, revealing how students felt about school, which often explained why patterns existed. 3. Staff reflection routines. Every half-term, mentors and teachers submitted short reflections about the interventions they were running, which students were responding well, which weren't, and what changes they recommended. These reflections became part of pastoral reviews. 4. Case study reviews. Mary introduced anonymised case reviews during staff training. Together, staff examined a student's journey, what interventions were tried, what evidence showed impact, and what lessons could be applied across the school. This fostered a culture of shared learning. 5. External audits. To avoid inward-looking complacency, Mary invited a school improvement partner twice a year to review her pastoral systems. These audits offered fresh eyes, honest critique, and practical recommendations. Through these practices, the school moved from reactive firefighting to proactive refinement, translating into daily practice. Precision showed up everywhere in Mary's school. Displays, "You said, we did" board in the entrance hall summarized student survey feedback and the school's response. Policies. Every pastoral policy included a monitoring and review section stating how its effectiveness would be measured. Routines. Weekly tutor meetings had a fixed agenda item for discussing attendance and well-being data. Recognition systems. Staff who demonstrated excellent use of evidence to improve practice were publicly thanked during briefings. One initiative that made precision visible was the attendance mentoring program. Students at risk of persistent absence were paired with a staff mentor. Progress was tracked weekly on the dashboard, parents received updates, and success stories were celebrated in assemblies. Because impact was reviewed in real time, interventions could be adjusted quickly rather than waiting until the end of term. Mary knew precision was not about a one-off system, but about building a habit of reflection. She embedded review points across the year, termly pastoral reviews, bringing together staff, student reps, and parent voices. Annual audit, a structured self-assessment against the independent school standards and Ofsted frameworks. Reflective practice days, staff training days dedicated to reviewing data and refining strategies. When surveys revealed that some students still weren't clear who to talk to about safeguarding concerns, Mary launched a student awareness campaign, posters, assemblies, and tutor time activities. This was precision in action. Identify a gap, address it systematically, and check for improvement. Before Mary focused on precision, the school often felt like it was running on good intentions. Staff were exhausted, repeating interventions without knowing if they worked. Students complained about inconsistency. Parents felt in the dark. After embedding precision, the transformation was striking. Clarity replaced confusion. Staff could see at a glance which students needed targeted support. Confidence replaced doubt. Teachers knew that their actions were being measured for impact, which gave meaning to their efforts. Trust replaced frustration. Parents saw transparent systems and knew their feedback shaped change. Progress replaced stagnation. Attendance rose, behavior improved, and student surveys showed a stronger sense of belonging. The ripple effect was cultural. Staff began to speak the language of evidence and refinement. Students noticed that their voices led to real change. Governors reported that pastoral care was now one of the school's strongest features. Mary had taken the raw materials of effort and goodwill and refined them into gold, a precise, accountable, and effective system that removed barriers and built flourishing lives. 5. Reflective questions for this pillar. How effectively do we currently monitor the impact of our pastoral initiatives? Think about whether you collect both quantitative data, attendance, behavior, safeguarding logs, and qualitative feedback, student voice, parent surveys. Are there gaps in what you measure? How do we ensure that data leads to meaningful action rather than sitting unused? Reflect on how inclusive your review processes are. Do all stakeholders have a voice in shaping improvements, or is it limited to leadership teams? How do we sustain a culture of continuous improvement in pastoral care?